If I go,
We need protein. Bro, we're coordinating. I know. I love it, and we didn't even plan this.
And then we matched the brick too, so it's like it's good.
Oh. One more time, real quick. And I'm gonna be talking.
Mic check, mic check, 1 2 1 2, mic check.
You don't have to really turn up.
What is it under yours?
No, why?
Go, yeah, 52, 50.
Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy, Manny. I'm coming to you live from the Manny J Media headquarters here in Worcester, Massachusetts. It's been such a long, long time, and I'm so sorry I left you. But, you know, it is that time of year, and we got to keep ourselves healthy and away from people when we're not feeling great. So, this isn't the biggest space. I mean, it looks huge on TV, but in real life, we're kind of in cramped quarters, and we want to keep each other healthy and, you know, doing the thing for the holidays and enjoying ourselves. And with all that being said, I'd like to welcome y'all back and welcome you, Mr. David James, aka, excuse me, Dizzy Dizasta. I think I do need some water. I swear I'm not sick anymore. My man Dizzy Dizasta, welcome to the show. So good to have you. We've been planning this for like over a year now.
Couple years.
Yeah, couple years. It has been. It has been a couple years. So let's just start by I like to tell everybody how I know you and why you're here.
Yeah.
And I do know you as a local artist here in Worcester. We'll talk a little bit more about your origins, where you come from, and where you've been in just a few minutes. But my first, actually, I think it was Unity Radio.
Mm-hmm.
It was about 2019, 2020-ish.
Yeah.
Right before COVID, we had met, and you were just on the grind, on the music scene, doing the damn thing. And I had so much respect. I do still have so much respect for you.
Thank you.
And your consistency and grind in the music business. And I just thought it would be a nice little change of pace to have someone in here who was an artist, who was a creative, who could just talk about their love and passion for their craft. So that's why I'm having you here today.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate you agreeing to come down here and giving me some of your time. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed that introduction. But I'd love for you to introduce yourself and how you'd love the world to know who you are.
All right. What up? What up? It's your boy Dizzy Dizasta, aka David James. David James, aka Dizzy Dizasta. David James Music is the label. Shout out to Straight Up Entertainment, Wu-Tang Management, everybody that follows me, supports me. Shout out to you. Shout out to the whole cannabis community of New England that show love and support for me unconditionally. And shout out to you, man. Shout out to his moms too, man.
Appreciate it.
That's one thing
Mama J Media.
it's one thing he forgot to add in there.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
Mama J.
Yeah.
She has my heart. So
She sure does. She has a lot of people's hearts, and if you
Mhm.
know Mama J, you know she is an amazing person.
Oh, yeah.
Also, a straight up entertainment
Mom.
mother. Yeah, mom. Yep, yep, yep. She's very much part of the family,
Oh yeah.
and I
She's
want to.
held down our Thanksgiving for a few years. So
Sure has. And that's one of her favorite things to do. And I'll tell you, she has been talking nonstop. And shout out to Jimmy King and Big Nate Allstar
yep.
and the rest of the straight up entertainment family. My man PBS Skins, how can I forget? That's my
Yeah,
guy.
shout out to Skins.
Love you,
Shout out to
Skins.
Skins.
One thing that she's been talking about pretty much since Thanksgiving and before Thanksgiving is how disappointed she was that she couldn't do Thanksgiving dinner this year. Unfortunately, she did have a surgery, which she's healing from. She's good, but there's some complications where she's not able to actually cook the meal that she usually does. But knowing her, she is gonna make up for that. You guys might end up having Thanksgiving in January, so
That's awesome.
Why not, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
But yeah, shout out to all the people we love and the people that brought us together.
Yes,
So since you brought up straight up entertainment, I'd love to start there because I remember, you know, when I was I was working with kind of assisting, just giving a hand, really showing some love to my man Jimmy King. You know, back when in 2020 time frame, and I met so many amazing artists in the community while I was working there that I didn't know about. Because to be completely honest with you, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm really not a hip hop head at all.
I was asking him a couple questions on the way here,
and I'm like, huh? I have no idea what you're talking about. So yeah, I know, John. You should be here instead of me. That's right. But one of the things I do like is when I don't know a whole lot because then I get to learn from you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, it was great times, and you did a lot of music leading up until now. Let's just start there. Tell me a little bit about what inspired you and what got you into the straight up journey.
So years ago, I was like probably 12, 13 years old. I started rhyming, and I used to do the onslaught battle circuits at Clark University. My man Joe used to put it on. Shout out to Mr. Green. He was actually the DJ. Now he's a world renowned producer in the hip hop industry. But that's when he was on the come up, and I had just met with Jimmy King, and this was back in the day, even before he started managing Crumb Snatcher. This is when he had Jay Hayes, rest in peace, Jesse Hayes, a Worcester legend. But he had him signed to the label, and I wanted to be around them so much that I was basically posting flyers everywhere for him, stickers everywhere for him. And then gradually, as I got older and older, I was more around the scene. I was helping them with the club scene and promoting. He gave me a budget one year, and every month, once a month, when it used to be Club Canal in Worcester, we used to do a hip hop show, and I just brought different legends every month and put people on to perform. Guys like Cannabis, Lord Jamar, Sean Price, one of my favorites, rest in peace. Buddha Monk, shout out to Buddha Monk out here right now. Dungeon Master, Black Poet, Prospect from Terror Squad, Armageddon from Terror Squad, Saigon. Just the list goes on. It was
wow.
just.
I'm going to tell you real quick. For someone that doesn't know much about hip hop, I definitely know those last three names.
Oh, yeah.
Terror Squad, PS Represent.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta love Fat Joe, Big Punch.
Jimmy Kane actually was one of the only few to have Terror Squad come out here as a collective with no one knowing.
When was this?
Just hanging out at the house. This was way back in the day when we used to live near what used to be called Rotman's, the furniture store.
Yeah.
He had a place over there, and we used to always hold after parties over there. But they used to come there and chill out with Jimmy all the time, Tony Sunshine and all of them. So yeah.
Jimmy's really a goat and very humble, very underrated. You don't really see him.
Yeah. He used to put me on the spot like yo, my guy could freestyle, and he'd be like, watch this, and you start pointing at DVDs and shit and make me freestyle.
How do you feel like freestyle in front of such big names?
So it actually helped me to think faster on my feet, and crafted me into the lyrical thing that I am right now, honestly. And it helped me to break a lot of ice. I mean, naturally I do sales as well too, during my regular life. I embark in all forms of marketing management and
Right.
sales management. So I feel like stuff like that helped mold my personality into that type of person. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that you bring that up. Is that being in the music industry is not the easiest
mm-mm,
path to take. You
no,
really, really have to have a passion and a love for it.
no, yeah,
As I said, I'm not too into all the dynamics and logistics and
yeah.
history of hip hop, but I have been in the music industry, and I do see how much literal blood, sweat, tears, and money. Don't get it twisted. There's a lot of money that goes into
You
it.
gotta stay consistent.
Yeah.
I was on the incline. Then Sean Price died. See before Sean Price died, I took to him because again he's my favorite MC still, even when he's not alive. And I used to book a lot of shows for him throughout New England and put myself on these shows with him. So he was holding me under his wing. And this is when Capadonna and them started coming around, Jimmy and us and everything. So like me, it was me and Sean Price. And when he passed away, it took a lot out of me. And then I ended up meeting my daughter's mother and took about a 5 year hiatus from music, doing music altogether.
Oh, wow.
Doing that basically took my heat down a little bit.
Yeah.
So naturally getting back on the scene now, it's doing the grind all over again.
Right, right, right. And at the end of the day, you have to live first. And
Of course.
what I was bringing up is, you know, there is sleepless days and nights in the studio. There is, like I said, a lot of money that goes into everything from recording to booking to promotion
Oh yeah.
materials and having clubs who may not know you. You got to pay them to get on their stages and stuff. So
Well, luckily I haven't had to do that for a long time. I've had to do that in the past,
yeah,
but luckily I've made an impact enough to where people for the most part know what I possess, what I could do. So I've been very lucky enough the past few years to get some monetary gains off of the music scene. I mean, I've been embarking on the production side of things now. You may not know him, but I'm working with Sean Price's right hand man, Rusty Jooks, on an album. Been working on it for some time now. Actually, had an accident 2 years ago that also hindered me, but we'll get into that, which initiated my album.
yeah,
But that's been initiating me back into the game and making me more relevant again. So
yeah.
I've been lucky enough to have people bless me and take care of me just as well as me reciprocating with putting in the work, the marketing behind everything, and putting on a good show.
Right. Well, we're gonna talk about you and your album and more what inspired that in just a moment. But you have bringing up a lot of names
Mm-hmm.
that have been in the city of Worcester,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't realize Worcester has such a
Oh yeah.
deep hip hop history. Not just with people, because I know you see people all the time
Oh
who
yeah.
they're artists in Worcester.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're good or bad is irrelevant.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize such big names come just to sit here and chill with
Yeah.
people that are working like Jimmy King Studios right there on Pleasant Street.
Yeah.
And it's there all day, every day, 365 days a year.
Worcester is literally the heart of
Yeah.
Massachusetts and for the most part the heart of New England. So pretty much everybody filters through Worcester, and you got guys like Tech Nine. They sell out every time they come out here. Just November 9th, they inaugurated November 9th as officially Wu Tang Day
And
in the
Worcester,
city of Worcester.
that's amazing.
So for me to even see that the city acknowledges hip hop like that, it's a beautiful thing. Worcester's one of the few cities in the New England areas
Yeah.
that actually acknowledges hip hop in that light. So
So
shout
with
out to
all this
Worcester.
deep hip hop history that Worcester holds, it feels like from what I see, and maybe I just don't get out enough. That is a possibility.
Yeah,
Um, it's not very. I don't know. There's just not a lot of support
yeah,
for artists in hip hop in Worcester. There are a lot of shows. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people, a lot of producers, a lot of artists, a lot of promoters that do put shows together.
yeah.
I've been to a lot of them, and for the most part, it's usually the artists, their friends, the promoters. Like it's a very 20 people or less
Yeah,
type crowd.
personal type of situation.
Why do you think there's so little support for artists in the city by the community?
I feel like see, this has always been a problem in Worcester. I feel like, especially back in the day when I was putting on shows, the way we did it, it was so different and unique that our shows, no matter what, always looked good because we turned the regular nightclub night into a performance night.
Yeah.
So naturally, there was already people there, right? But what I feel like with the city, like so with me doing shows in other states and cities, especially New York, and seeing how people do over there, I feel like a lot of it has to do with one, the promotions, and two, the different people that they have that perform in this, right? Because everybody, no disrespect, I never talk about anyone like being not good or good at hey, teach his own. I know what I possess, and that's all I care about.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
Yeah, music
you
is
see somebody
subjective.
perform one time, you don't want to see the same performance seven more times.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, to me, I just feel like the Worcester, they gotta support a lot of within even more and even reach out more. You know what I mean? Because I could tell you right now, in the last year or two, how many of these promoters in Worcester, how many of them actually acknowledge me or reach out to me, and it's a shame because I get a lot more love and support in New York and in all these other places, but the city where I'm from.
Yeah.
But back in the days, I used to get a lot of unconditional love. But again, when you fall off, that relevancy goes. But I mean, even if so, still, my music's playing on Shade 45. I got music all over different radio stations. Everybody's showing love and support. But the city itself, it's like if you're not in the inner circle, you're out. They don't reach out. Nobody wants to reach out. Everybody wants to do their own thing. And hey, to each his own. But I just feel like if we supported each other a lot more and did a lot more reaching out to one another and created the community that we already have established here, it could be that much bigger. You know what I mean?
And I mean, I think about that a lot in what I do as far as podcasting goes. And even John has, come up with the term cross pollination or going on other people's podcasts and having those hosts on our podcast.
Oh yeah.
And exposing ourselves to each other's audience and letting each other's audience know who may not have otherwise known that we even exist.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like there's not so much a sense of competition because we are all unique in what we do. We all bring a different take or a different perspective to the table.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like that in the music industry. It seems like it's very competitive. And
it is.
do you think that maybe more collaboration, at least in the inner city, when at least, before you make it to like Big Nate or even joiner status, don't you think collaboration would be more important than, trying to just do this on my own and having a couple people under me to open for me at a show at, let's say, Electric Haze. Shout out to Electric Haze. You guys can sponsor us, by the way. We are very open to anyone who wants to sponsor us.
I mean, the way I see it is everybody has their own lane and everybody accomplishes what they accomplish on their own. So to see the guys like Joyner and them do their thing, but not do their thing as much in the city, that's for a reason. You gotta see, right? Like Joyner gives back by doing his Joyner Day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Joyner Fest, excuse me,
Yeah.
Joyner Fest. So that's his form of giving back. But other than that, the city really hasn't done nothing for him. So it's like there's no obligation for him to. You see what I'm saying? And that's where that mind state sets in.
And when you say the city, you're talking about the community. You're talking about us,
the
right?
community in total. Yeah,
we're not talking about city hall.
For instance, when you're on the climb and you're on the come up, you'll see the people that support you on the regular, right?
Yeah.
Like you look at my posts, you look at my videos, you look at everything. Again, I get thousands and thousands of streams and everything as well too. But you could see who's your regulars. You could see the people that actually support and that actually, and then
where they're from. Like you
exactly.
can see if it's people from your neighborhood.
When you blow up, all of a sudden, all these people come out the woodwork.
Like I knew Dizzy when he was a kid.
Oh, let's yo.
We went to the same school.
Can you do something for me? And then you're already at that stature, and you're like, yeah, I'm doing this right now. To do that, I need like 1,500 or something like that. And then he's too bougie. He's doing the thing right now, and it's like. But when I was at the level of let's work, he was procrastinating on me. So now I'm on. You want to ride my wave? Yeah, you want to ride my wave? Like, nah, man.
Well, speaking of your wave, you got a wave coming up, It's the beginning of the year. You got some releases that you want to put out there, and
Oh
I'd
yeah.
love to talk about your actual what it is you do.
Oh yeah.
We've been talking about all the fluff stuff for quite a while, so I want to talk about you, who you are, and what you do. So at the end of the day, in case you guys haven't been keeping up with us, you're a rapper
Yes, sir.
and
And a
you
producer.
and a producer.
Mhm.
So where did you first get your start? How young were you when you first realized your love for music?
12 years old, 11 years old. I first met my pops. I found out he was in the industry, and I wanted to impress him so much. I just started picking up rapping and naturally started spitting.
Wow.
Yeah.
So rapping was your first thing,
My
and
first thing. Well,
before producing.
so when I started rapping, I remember one piece of advice that I got from I forget who it was, Crumb Snatcher.
Really,
He was
that's
like,
a great piece of advice to get when you first start.
he
A
goes,
person to get advice
yeah.
from when you first start out.
I remember he was like, he goes, you know how to be unique and not just sound like, because back then I sounded like a scripted person, you
Yeah.
know. He's like, learn how to sing, learn how to hold a tune. Not
Okay.
too many people could do that. I'm like, all right. So I'm not a singer, but I used to practice harmonizing all the time. I was in elementary school, middle school, and all. I used to do choir and all that stuff. So then I started getting into actually writing rhymes and harmonizing my verses and rhymes and everything, and making songs and cadences
Really?
of music. Yeah.
Wow, I would never have thought, especially because when you look at rappers, you look at them as like kind of hard. And
Yeah.
you don't think of rappers as singers. I want to talk to you a little bit more about that and so much more in just a
Yeah.
moment. I really want to take a minute because it's been a while to thank our sponsors because without you guys and without them, we could not make this happen.
Yes,
We
sir.
appreciate you so much. We'll be right back.
Era.
And welcome back, everybody, to Interviews with the one and only Dizasta. Thank you so much, my man,
Yes,
for
yes,
coming through and
yes.
hanging
Y'all
out with
ready?
me and
Y'all
chopping
ready?
it up. So when we were on break, John had a really great question he wanted to ask you. Um, I don't know if you can repeat what you said if they'll hear you, but essentially he wants to know what was the first song that inspired you to become a rapper.
It's honestly really hard to say because my mom's husband, growing up since I can remember about 7 years old, he's the one that introduced me to the whole Wu Tang thing. So there's so many songs that I could say that influenced me to do it. But I will say there was a song called "Troublesome" by Tupac.
I actually know that song, so that's how you know how good it is. I know that one.
Just the beat alone,
We can't sing it here.
I used to always like that la la la
Yeah.
la la la.
And I think that's why I remember it so much because it's that familiar tune.
Yeah. So, and I remember that was like
Oh,
an
you-
odd song to know
yeah.
from Tupac at my age, you know. So it's like that right there. I think really like jolted me into.
That was
Like, I'm getting
96,
goosebumps
right?
talking about it.
One long time ago. Yeah.
And I remember my aunt, she seen that I was loving hip hop as much as I was when I was young. So birthdays, Christmases, and all that, she always bought me whatever new CD was out, brand new CD all the time.
Word.
And I remember for like the first 3 years, she kept getting me the non-parental advisory ones, no swears and shit. And I was like, yo, come on.
Yeah. It takes away. It takes so much.
I remember
away.
she got me the Ja Rule
Especially-
CD and shit with no swears on it. I'm like, what is this?
And the worst part is, you know what the swear is. You
Yeah,
can just
yeah.
fill in the blank. Kids are not dumb. Just
That song came out when Tupac was before he was Tupac.
Yeah.
When he was doing his, how he marketed himself. He would go on to like talk shows and sit in the audience. So like Phil Donahue and like the old.
and just be
Oprah stuff.
seen, be
And
recognized.
just be a person in the thing, and
Yeah.
then when they came to ask the audience questions, he would like go.
And then it's
you
crazy.
can see all those videos.
It's crazy how he was marketed essentially as a gangster when he was the furthest thing. I mean, maybe he had a little gangster in him. Don't get me wrong, but
When he was
he was, but he was smart. he was very, very smart and just really good at what
Yeah,
he did.
listen, most of the people in the music industry, like, don't get it twisted. Like, I mean, yeah, there's some real dudes in the game, but a lot of these people that are in the industry that are making moves, or that you see, like, especially with hip hop, right? Smart businessmen.
Yeah.
Like, you look at all the Griselda dudes, 38 Special,
I'm looking 50.
50, all of those dudes, they're smart businessmen.
Yeah.
They come from, like, look at even the baby. He
And
just
I'm not taking
graduated from
nobody's
Harvard
gangsta away.
Business School.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, these people, the thing is, they cater to the masses. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
okay, this image sells. I'm rolling with that. You know what I mean? I look like a tough guy. I may not be a tough guy, but
you know what's so crazy about it is that although that image sells, it does nothing for the consumer,
Mhm.
right? It does nothing but lead them down treacherous paths of
yeah,
the streets, right?
drama and
It blows my mind how they don't push the narrative more, I guess, in the music.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you could answer. I mean, you probably just answered why to this. Why wouldn't they push that narrative of business and
because it's
entrepreneurship and
because
success?
unless you're gonna put a ton of money behind it, the average media will not promote that much positivity. They won't. I mean, you got to think about all different lights, right? Like, you see Lil Durk, All My Life. All of a sudden now he's gone for life. You know what I mean? So it's like the narrative always is popping this, coochie this, that, whatever. Like, you see, there's a lot of female lyricists that got bars that are really popping, especially a lot of female lyricists out of Massachusetts. You know, shout out to Nimbu G, China Beijing, like a lot of like dope female artists. But the ones that get that shine are the ones talking ratchetness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just the media for you. That's why they always say if you drop a single, guaranteed be ready to invest 100 grand if you want something to pop
Well,
out.
and I mean, bringing up female rappers, you look at Cardi B, you look at Nicki Minaj. These are brilliant, brilliant geniuses. Like these women are
Mm-hmm.
like, but the narrative that's put out there is they're ratchet, they're sexual.
Because that's what the label calls for. That's what they want. That's the image they want to fulfill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Album has 16 songs.
yeah,
You only hear 2 of them already.
I know.
like
Again,
listen. Yeah, you're signed to the label. We're gonna give you this as an advance, but you are wearing fucking this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff. And it's a shame. That's why, like, even with my music, like, I'm a writer at the end of the day, right? I could write turn up music. I could write Drake type of music. I could pretty much write any type of thing. I have an
What is your
extensive
favorite genre?
vocabulary. Ooh, bad. I have an extensive vocabulary. I could pretty much write. I could write songs for singers and everything. And all my friends always tell me, right? Even the friends I have that listen to like Future and all those turn up songs and everything,
Yeah.
they be like, "Yo, how come you don't do music to shit like that? Like, how come your music's dark and blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "Cause I'm not making music for you. I'm not making music for that person or that person. I make music because that's my stress relief. That's my therapy.
You're
If,
making it for you.
if people
end of the
love
day.
it, that's great. I'm putting out my message and the way that I want it. And that's why I sing on a bunch of songs, independent, because I will never be forced to be reinvented. Plus, I'm a nutcase, a little demented.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And I think we do the same thing here actually. So I really resonate with what you're saying.
Yeah.
So clearly you're not signed to any label.
Well, I'm signed to Straight Up Entertainment through the Orchard, Sony Orchard, so for distribution.
For distribution.
Mhm.
But you don't have anyone molding you or telling you how
No.
to be an artist.
I
You're
had
able to
I had I had a
freely
deal
create.
that I personally messed up years ago. You know what I mean? I won't even talk on that because it stemmed.
Why not? You should.
Because
Just because, like, a lot of people go through ups and downs, and it's nice to see that it's not just a straight trajectory.
it's just like
into-
back in the day when I was on the incline, I didn't humble myself when I should have been humbled. You know what I mean? Like when guys like Millie's and all that, we were all on the same grind together. And when they try to reach out to me, I acted like I was too good. And now, sure enough, look at where they're at. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, good
Right.
shit, my dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
I should have been nice to you.
Right.
You know?
And you're still grinding to
Yeah.
try to get to that
Not that I
status.
was mean, but it's like I was just like I wasn't socially inclined like that. Like I was just like, yo, I'm doing my thing and that's it. And
Do
then
you think that was
nowadays I'm like, yo, yeah, let's work. You know
Do
what I
you
mean?
think that was part of the experience because of some of the pushback you might have had when you reached out to have? Like, do you think that was just part of the
Not
game?
I wouldn't say not necessarily. I think more or less is I was young and arrogant because I was young and had all these legendary dudes around me. I was
Yeah.
fortunate enough to have that. Shout out to Jimmy again. I was fortunate enough to be around these legends at a young age in the studio with Edo G. I was in a studio on Armory at the Armory in Worcester with Slain when he was recording White Man is a Devil Volume 2 when he first signed to Straight Up before they got signed to Duck Down Records and Special Teams. I was in the studio with him and he was bringing him Heinekens even though I was too young to. I was having my friends go to the store get him a pack of Heinekens and stuff. So I've come a long way, and the same thing goes with the album. Like coming back on the scene, I started dropping stuff, getting on shows and everything, and then I had my accident in October 2022, and that put me in a real world,
Yeah.
So when I came out of that, it was a drug influenced accident. So I was doing stupid things, and somebody did me dirty, and I almost died. Actually, I did die for 5 minutes.
Wow.
And that's what this whole album is about, the journey. It's about my struggle going through that process because I started recording the album. So if you listen to the album, like the first three songs were before the accident even happened, minus the intro, because the intro is it's the intro. But then halfway through it is a hospital skit. And then the rest of it after that, it's like calm, humble music. Like I got a song called Drama Free, Selfless Love, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's like soft hip hop. It's not that like punch slap kick shit that I normally do.
So you've almost had like an awakening or a rebirth.
Yeah,
Just
that's the only reason why I took this actual picture of me in the hospital bed that my dad took of
Oh
me.
wow,
That's an actual photo of me in the hospital
bro! I'm not
bed
gonna lie, I didn't even notice that. That's
with
pretty dope.
tubes in my mouth,
Wow.
and that's why as
I love
much
how
as
you
it,
got the hourglass broken.
as much as it hurt my family seeing that photo, I had to put that on here because that's my reality. You know what I mean? I got kids.
Well,
so
congratulations. I mean,
man.
obviously you're back, you're strong, you're looking good, you're healthy, and I'm sure your family feels extremely proud and blessed to still have you here.
Oh yeah.
So what did that journey look like, um, leading up to creating the album, and how has it changed since then? Who are you now? Who are you today?
So I think before that, I was careless and making careless decisions,
Having fun,
doing
a lot of
careless
people call,
things.
right?
Yeah,
Right?
doing careless things, and I allowed a lot of snakes and leeches around me at that time. When I got into that accident, to see how many people interacted with the social media part of that accident, people were worried naturally. But the one thing I kept noticing is everybody wanted to know what happened.
Yeah.
Nobody was really interested in my true overall. Well, not I shouldn't say nobody. Let me rephrase that. The majority was not truly interested in my well-being. Hey, you good? You able to snap back? Now, me, I'm a businessman, so I had my recourse. I had things, my retirement, all that stuff. I had things that helped me to not fall into a slump. But the people that I called upon and relied upon as my quote unquote brothers, they used me for social gratification, social, get likes.
Clout.
Yeah, clout chased. Yeah, and but they didn't help me out in any other way other than that. So I cut off a ton of people, and I just started focusing primarily on this album, and that was just my mission to get it done and get it out.
Yeah.
And as soon as I wrapped it up, I felt so good after doing it. So much so that now I'm in the process of getting more media out there, visuals for people. You know what I mean? Like before that, I had maybe one video 10 plus years ago. So now my plan is to drop a video every other month, every 2, 3 months,
Right.
get it out there and keep people in tune with what it is I'm actually doing. Because at the end of the day, you could put out a million things, right? But if it doesn't have substance and actual relatable content in it, nobody's gonna take to it, right?
Right.
So as long as I be true to myself and I invite everyone on my quote unquote journey, I feel like that'll resonate more than anything. So if nothing, no matter what, anything happens to me, my legacy always will live on.
My man, absolutely. Through your work, through your passion, through your love. What's up?
Just make sure to say thank you.
I saw that. Bro, I appreciate you, my brother. Huge shout out to Kevin Navarro, aka, if you don't know, the
Kevin
one
Navarro.
and only Mr. Munchies. You familiar with Mr. Munchies?
No, I'm not.
No?
Probably.
You got to get familiar. We'll get you familiar. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Best snacks in New England.
Oh, I actually have seen.
know,
I've been seeing that around.
John just held up the Mr.
Yep.
Munchies box that we have on our visitor shelf over there.
Yep.
But yeah, he's making a splash here, and
As you can see, I like munchies. You know.
Yeah, listen, we all do. And he got those international snacks. Don't stop.
Word.
You know, tickle your taste buds with some whole new flavors.
Yep.
But I can't believe time flies. You know what I'm saying? When we're having a good time, and we gotta have you back because there's so much more that I want to ask you and discuss.
Yeah.
But before we go, I just really want to make sure that we talk about your album, your single.
Yep.
It's gonna be released soon, and then soon after that, you have another gift for the community. Let's talk about that.
So, Christmas Eve, I'm dropping a single called "No Favors." Now, I made this in particularly. You know, no offense to anybody. If you take offense to it, hey, you know, get out your feelings.
One of those hit the shoe fits scenario.
Yeah, get out your feelings. You know what I'm saying? You know, come see me. But I've worked hard on this, and you know, I get what I get through my own hard work and labor. I put in my own dedication. I never ask anybody for favors. Whenever I ask somebody of something, I always compensate. All my graphic designers, I compensate. The DJs that cuts my records, I compensate. Everybody that shows love, each one teach one. I do a show, I'm paid for it. Whoever comes with me to that show, we all break bread equally. And you can ask anyone that's ever done a show with me. I will split my monies with everybody that's there. I'll buy you food, make sure you eating. And to me, that's what it's really about. Because too many times I see people riding coattails and taking someone else's wave and acting like they're the best of the best. And it's like, take that wave away, take the coattail from under you, and what do you then? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's all about bars and hard work and dedication, and I come equipped with nothing less than that. Yeah. And I'm ready to bar up at any point in time.
Now, I hear you say that, and I agree with it. It's like that heartfelt passion. I feel it, and I love it. I don't feel like that's really the reality in the music industry. I wish it was, but I don't feel like it is. I feel like a lot of times it's all who you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes people make deals to get where they gotta go. Not to take the hard work part out of it, but a lot of it, you know, in success and you know and whether or not you.
What I mean by hard work though is that you have to understand. I have like a list of 1,000 different emails. Right. I cater emails to each individual person of my music. I go to places. I make it a point to try to go to other people's events to try to be seen. Like I'm constantly putting in work, and I try to help out others as well too. I'm making beats always on the regular. At the same time, I'm living my normal life and getting by and doing what I got to do. So that's what I mean by that. Like,
do you feel though, like you know, because you haven't really taken any favors or even you know maybe use some of the big names that you just dropped to get ahead because you wanted to do it on your own. It's not that they didn't want to help you. You just chose to put in the work. Yeah. Do you feel that might have hindered you from being further along than you actually are? You know, you just talked about Millie's.
Honestly, I feel like that actually it hindered me. It would have hindered me even more utilizing it. I feel like, right? Because then I'm only as good as the person I'm following.
Okay.
I'm trying to be the best of the best in my own world.
Right.
So whether I
want to be behind nobody else, you want to be the leader of the pack.
Whether I become a Grammy Award winning artist or not, whatever. At the end of the day, when you listen to my music, you can always expect high level bars. Always, nonetheless. The only favors that I will ever accept is someone offering to invest into my situation. Mm-hmm. Other than that,
in which case you plan on making sure that they get the investment back, right?
So, yeah, like even at OG, shout out to OG. Like you know, he was willing to work with me, and you know, I made sure that he was good, just like he made sure I was good. Young Z, he came through Worcester. We politicked, and you know, I broke him off, and he blessed me with the dopest verse that I've had in a long time from people. So stuff like that is what I mean. Like you know what I mean? Like I expect no favors from anybody. I'm willing to put in that work and that dedication. I'm willing to show you why it's worth you working with me.
Right. And what else you got coming up?
And then the video dropping for that single. And by the way, I produced this single as well myself, and I wrote all the music. But the video's coming out the first New Year's Day. Shout out to Sando Films. He's the one that he shot it and edited it and everything.
Right. And can we just shout out where you did it?
Where?
Yeah, that's my people's too.
In Worcester, Sando Films.
And Bam.
And I shot it at Bam Studio at the Treehouse Collective.
We gotta shout out the Treehouse
Mixed by Bam. Make sure you follow him on all social media.
That's right. We love Bam and Treehouse Collective as well. I love how all of us come together. I mean, we're talking so many names that you and I both know, and it all came full circle with you here today. All of us coming together to do something great, not just for an individual such as yourself in the community, but for the community to get to know you and for you to get to know the community. I just think it's so dope. I love different collaboration is so important.
I just want to say this: I love Worcester, and I love the artists that are from Worcester, right? Because there's so many different genres of hip hop coming out of Worcester, and I wish that we would get a little bit more light in this city, because this fucking city is dope. Excuse my language again, but I see Abby Koto on his grind, always doing this thing, and I love that dude, man. He be on his thing, doing his thing.
Absolutely. Shout out to my brother Abby. Shout out to Musade Hart. Actually building their new headquarters right here in Worcester. I don't know if you've seen that, but my man is doing his thing.
Shout out to Stevie, by the way. Coffee in the Woo.
Everybody's doing it. Yes, Stephen Romero, Coffee in the Seven. Coffee in the Seven coming in January. Again, another voice, another perspective in the community. We need to watch. We need to look forward to. We need to support all this talent that's coming up. We've been here for a while, but that is also coming up. We need to support each other. We need to show love. Where can people see you if they want to catch you on stage?
Oh man, I haven't gotten into booking any other shows for the new year yet. I'm gonna start getting on that.
You just performed, right?
I just did a show in Lower East Side, Manhattan. Shout out to Sin City. She's from Worcester too, but she had me out there. And then we did a show before that with Inspector Deck at Off the Rails. Shout out to DJ Stenny and Who Is Mary Palmer for that.
Absolutely. Shout out to my man DJ Stenny. I gotta ask you. I know we gotta go, John, but I really gotta ask you. How was it sharing stage with someone as legendary as Inspector Deck? Like that's hip hop.
You know how you told me earlier,
right there. That's pretty cool.
So you know how you told me earlier when you was in the studio building with all in America.
I didn't say that on air. So but before we had a little conversation before we came on here. But yes,
it's to me at first when I first started dealing with him, I used to get that starstruck feeling, because Deck is probably one of my favorite MCs on the Wu-Tang itself.
He's an originator,
especially Czarface and whatnot. So I've had dinners with him. Like he's broken me off of food from his plate and everything. So to rock the stage with him, and that was actually my first time seeing him perform his own show. So that was definitely heartwarming. I like that.
It's different. I mean, I
had my mom's husband there too, and he's the one that put me on the Wu-Tang. So to see him as happy as he was, spitting all of his bars and everything, like it meant a lot to me. So shout out to Deck for that.
That's awesome, man. I'm so happy that you at least got to have that experience. It's amazing, and I can just relate very little because I'm not a hip hop head.
Yep.
But who doesn't know about Wu-Tang, right?
Oh, yeah.
And as a kid, I knew about Wu-Tang, and to grow up and who knew one day I'd be at Jimmy's studio and actually get to. Shout out to Big Nate Allstar. He bought us some steak and cheese, bro. We sat there and we were grubbing, and it was just normal dudes. It's so crazy, off stage and behind the cameras than it is on stage. But both are just as enigmatic and inspiring. And bro, again, I appreciate you so much for coming through. Definitely. I want you to have the last word, though. I want everybody to know what you need them to know. So here's your chance. Go ahead and shout them out.
Your boy Dizzy Dizasta. Make sure you check out on iTunes, Amazon, every platform that you could get music on. Grab The Journey. The album is fire. We ain't gouging you for anything. But if you want high-level bars, check it out. This will give you insight on me. Christmas Eve, check out No Favors on all streaming platforms. And I just dropped a single with SD Knack on Halloween called Cemetery Dancing. If you don't know, better ask somebody.
Right. All right, my man Dizzy Dizasta, a.k.a.
David James.
AKA I forgot your last name. It's what I do. I forget names. And this is your boy Manny J Media. Interviews, community delivered. As always, we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.
Right. And I gotta